Howdy, this is Kevin Suko, the Director of Facilities and Grounds with the Sun Prairie Area School District. Here presenting on to support a situation report on the docket at the February 13th, 2023 Sun Prairie School Board meeting. We are looking to approve the purchase of some autonomous custodial equipment. Now, attached to the agenda item is a pretty lengthy situation report that goes through a lot of the process of our evaluation and our solicitation. So I don't want to spend too much time talking about that because you can read it in the report. But I do want to talk about autonomous equipment, what it is, why we're looking to add it, what we're not looking for it to do, and also why we made the decision to look at it now. So, the first thing that I want to talk about is what is autonomous equipment. Autonomous equipment is anything that we can use in the custodial world that is, it has a software that allows it to run by itself with the aid of a human. So what it's going to do is supplement the labor that our custodians can provide. It is not like Rosie the Riveter, Rosie the Robot from the Jetsons, where it's going to do everything by itself and it's there to just do the tasks. The technology that we're looking at just isn't there yet. But what this does is it allows custodians to do multiple tasks at once, thereby making them more efficient and also allowing them to do better quality at the tasks that they have at hand. Autonomous equipment is great for areas where there's no obstructions and there's wide areas for them to work in. When we get into like obstructions like people, bags, tables, or moving things, those can start to cause some problems. So we'd look at working around those with the implementation of this equipment. How does it work? The equipment is based on, or I should say, all the equipment that we are looking at are based on floor scrubbing equipment that's already established and used and has been around for a long time. So the floor scrubber component of this isn't something that's new. All the machines that we're looking at are made by companies that have been around for a long time, and they also have made floor scrubbers for a long time. So that's not the new technology here that we're evaluating, but they take these machines and they add autonomous equipment to them that allows them to function independently of a human for short periods of time or to do set and defined tasks. Now, that's not to say that there is equipment out there that is made where maybe it's made by a robotics company that doesn't have a lot of experience with floor scrubbers, but they have a lot of experience with the autonomy. We decided that that wasn't the best route to go because of the cost of maintenance of the machines. And really, we want to buy a piece of equipment that's going to be around for 10, 15 years that we can service and use. It uses intelligent sensors. The big thing that I want to point out here is that a human is really integrated into the operation of this machine. A human needs to plug it in and charge it. A human needs to move it to its initial starting point. A human needs to do the initial programming. And then once it's to its starting point, a human needs to start and stop it and make it ready for operation. And then when it's done, a human needs to drain out its tank, do any brush or pad changes, and do any maintenance to the squeegees or anything like that to make the machine work. So what it does is it's just like a mop bucket or a manually operated floor scrubber or a vacuum cleaner. It's a tool that a custodian can use to complete the job at hand. How it works, the machine itself, it actually uses a combination of wheel count sensors, LiDAR, radar, light sensors, all that kind of stuff, sonar. Many different sensors are used depending on the company and the piece of equipment that you're looking at. But what they do is they scan the area in front and they make sure that there's no obstructions. And if there are obstructions, the autonomy software will make a decision on, hey, is it something that I can manage, I can safely move around, or does the obstruction present a hazard where it's better if I just shut off, wait for the obstruction to move. And if it doesn't move within a certain amount of time, I'm going to just shut down and send out a warning signal to my operator to let them know that I've encountered something that I can't move forward with. Most of these, or I should say all of the autonomous equipment that we evaluated are really conservative in their approach. Safety is at the forefront in their programming. I don't think that we'd ever be concerned about, a floor scrubber turning into a Terminator or anything like that. But really, it's more about the individual in the hallway that we're running into. We want to make sure that that individual feels comfortable to continue on their day and not have to jump out of the way or be impeded by the autonomous piece of equipment. The autonomous piece of equipment should always accommodate for them. The other thing that's nice about the autonomy software is that it tracks where we're going. If day after day after day, we notice that one part of the floor, there's an obstruction and it has to go around that obstruction, we can either look at how can we eliminate that obstruction, or we can program the robot or program the scrubber to clean in a different way that maybe it doesn't have that obstruction in its path. What it doesn't do, I kind of talked about it already, but it doesn't operate all by itself. All three of the companies that we looked at equipment, they all talked about it being a tool at the custodian's disposal. It works with the custodian. What's nice about that is it allows a custodian to dry mop a floor and then bring the scrubber into place, run it, and while that scrubber is running, they can be cleaning glass. Maybe they can be spending more time cleaning glass than they normally would so they can do a better job. Or they might be able to cover a bigger area of glass, cover more hallways in one night. Same thing with vacuuming or trash or something like that. Or in the case that that presents itself quite often, if a custodian, someone calls in sick, it can allow us to help bridge the amount of work that needs to be covered to fill in for that custodian that's absent. So I kind of laid into that, but the number one reason, or I shouldn't say that, but one of the reasons that we look at it or we're looking into this is the lack of labor. It's no surprise that for the first 6 months of this year, trying to find people to fill our custodial positions has been a challenge. It's not just for us. This is statewide, countywide, nationwide. So that is one reason that looking into this became more attractive. But also, I really want to, even when we are fully staffed, this equipment will allow our custodians to do more. Right now, when they're riding a scrubber, they are basically sitting on a machine and riding it for 2-3 hours a night. How could we take those 2-3 hours and make them more productive? Number one, in terms of amount of cleaning that can get done, but also most of the folks that operate these pieces of equipment are our lead custodians. They're pretty expensive, so we want to make sure that the folks that are doing that have a little bit more responsibility and have more training. Not always, but most of the time in our secondary schools, it's the lead custodian that has the task of running these pieces of equipment. Well, what if instead of spending 2 hours riding on that machine, they could spend 30 minutes working with custodians in their different areas, getting an idea of, what they're getting done, maybe helping them with tasks that they need help with, or being able to celebrate the successes that they're having. So it's not just a labor fill-in, it's also allowing us to do more with our labor, to be more productive and make the workplace a little bit more happy to be in. How we'll utilize machines. The proposal is to place one autonomous machine at each of our secondary schools. So that would be one machine at the historic Hilltop campus of the PLC, Central Heights, and Prairie Phoenix Academy. One machine at Patrick Marsh, one machine at Prairie View, one machine at East High School, and one machine at West High School. Most of the time, we want to run these machines. We don't want to run it during the school day when there's students in the hallway, when they're moving around. it creates a lot of stress on the machine. It's hard for the sensors to figure out what's going on. So the ideal time for these machines is to be run at second and third shift when there's fewer people in the hallway. And then also we want to use these machines. They don't do carpet and hard floors. They only do one floor type. So we would use them in our areas that have ceramic tile, VCT tile, or some of the new resilient floors that we're bringing in as well. So we did have a process. We reached out and solicited a request for proposal to vendors that we have worked with that we purchased machines from in the past. Every single one of the vendors that provided equipment for West High School received this RFP, and all of them returned submittals. So what we did was we asked them to come in, give us a demo, and bring a manufacturer's rep that we could talk with and that could explain the machine. They actually went up to East High School and ran the same route. We watched it operate with a book bag on the floor, and it was kind of nice. Just with every single one of the vendors that came, it happened to happen during a passing period that we got to also watch how the machine responded to a lot of students in the hallway and what it would do. So after we saw the demo, we got our proposals. We used an evaluation rubric to that included cost, warranty, the quality of the machine, the ease of operation, things like that. And then once we had our highest scoring piece of equipment, we had our environmental managers reach out and do reference checks on those equipments or on that piece of equipment. They all came back very, very, very glowing in what the machine was able to do. So the machine that we selected is a Minuteman RoboScrub 20. This operates with the Brain OS software, autonomy software, and this will be procured from Imperial Dade. The funding for this, like I say, we did look at this back when we started procuring equipment for West High School, and the cost, the cost per machine of $53,000 to $80,000 is pretty expensive. So we did not move forward at that time, but through the project, we have been able to spend our money quite wisely. And also through the bonding, we were able to save some interest on the amount of money that we took bonded for the project. So we do have some funds that are conserved through the project. And this is one thing that we agreed upon would be a good use of funds to support our school operations. And because each one of these would be placed at a secondary school to preserve and conserve the construction that we did there, we felt that this was definitely something that fit along the scope of the 2019 referendum. So if you have any questions, I will be present at the board meeting to answer them, or you can feel free to call or email me, and I will do my best to get any response to you. Thank you very much and have a great night.